right. Before we jump into our topic this evening, we're going to blame Roscoe because he was being a bad
Roscoe. Bad. He's looking at me like...
So before we jump into our topic, let's start out by talking about where we've been since we all last got together. And Dan, we're going to start with you. Pressure.
It's not fair because this is kind of pressure because it's like I went to the arena. You know what I mean?
That's why we want to talk about it first, man.
Okay, well, you're not going to like what I have to say. I went to Madison Square Garden to see Phil Collins. Not a sporting event, Phil Collins. I will say this. So I came up from South Jersey, went to the city. You rode a train in, you walk upstairs, you're there. So getting into it was one of the easiest. That, DC and Philly are just, you're there. Once you get there, you're there. There's no futzing around.
Trust me, as someone who's driven there, yeah, you want to take the train, no doubt.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I can't imagine, trying to drive there. Cause you look at the, hold on, we're going to move as I talk. You look at the map and you're like, where do you park? And then you realize it's New York City. You ain't parking anywhere. You got to kind of ride. So here, come with me, everybody. To the regular background. There we go. The queue was the worst queue I've ever been in to get into that building. It took forever. And I don't know if it was just because it wasn't a sporting event and it was an off night for certain people. It was the longest wait I've ever had to get into a place. And it's hot because it's, underground and just a wonderful time. But once you get in there, it's weird because last episode, it was, we talked about certain arenas for hockey because we're doing Obey the Puck, and we were talking about how I'm so ADD, I'm trying to ignore all that technical stuff. But when you walk into an old arena, you feel this. You feel where you're walking. We talked Hershey Park Arena specifically. So I went into this thinking, I'm going to MSG. You're gonna feel something. I don't know if it's because it's been renovated so many times. And I mean that in a positive way. Like, it didn't feel like I was walking into something that was crumbling. It didn't feel like that I was walking into something that was going to break down and crumble on top of you at the very next minute. It didn't feel as old as it was. But on the other hand, it was like, it didn't feel, until you sat down in the chairs. That felt old. It felt old for days after that. But yeah, I didn't walk into that building and go, I can smell history here. Cause, you argue about the Rangers, and liking them and the original six in the NHL. It's still a historic building. Wrestling historically, boxing historically, basketball, not the Knicks. Hockey, it's a historic building, and I just didn't feel that. It felt very much like, yeah, I'm here. Cool.
Even when you look up at the classic roof?
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it where I sat. That was the problem. That was perfect segue. Where I sat, cause I saw Phil last year in October, in Philly, and I, spent some money on those tickets. And, I sat close. So it's weird cause it was, with my dad. He's the guy that raised me on Phil Collins. So I got that in before he had a stroke. He's fine now, but it was before serious mobility issues. Another story for another time. So I was like, well, I do want to see him just in case this is it. So I'll buy a cheap seat, which it wasn't technically a cheap seat, but again, another story for another time, ticket bastard. So I sat like the first 3 rows of the upper section, the 200s. And there's 2 things that throw me off. There is I don't know if this is new or if it's been there. It couldn't have been there when it was originally built. I could be wrong talking out of my ass, but this is no way this is original. There is a section in between the roof and the top section that goes across along before you get to the famous roof where people sit and eat and watch the show. It overlooks. Is that what? Yeah, kinda. Yeah. I was going to call it a bridge. It's a section though, but You got to walk across the catwalk from the concourse across over top of just space underneath you. It's an enclosed, walkway, but you're walking across that when there's nothing below you but the arena floor or seats. And then you're in this whole section that wraps around to the other side, or, on one side of seats looking down directly at the arena, which I assume for a hockey and basketball game is an amazing seat. I mean, you're looking straight down because you're past the upper sections and you're looking straight down below you. I don't know how that went for a concert that was over here, but I can imagine for stuff that's happening in the center, that was probably a great seat. But that blocked all the views of everything above that section. I couldn't see the ceiling. I could barely see the banners from where I was sitting. The banners were to the extreme left at the end of the bowl, and that was also blocked off. So I couldn't see the roof. I couldn't see the speakers. I couldn't see anything. And I feel that took away a lot from experiencing Madison Square Garden, because when you say that name, I think of two things. I think of what it looks like on the outside, and I think of that roof. And I didn't see any of that because I was inside. Now, I will say this. That is the best design for getting to a section. You're in the towers, you get off at the door and the floor you're on, and that's it. You're done. You walk the concourse, you're at your seat. That is one of the best ideas I've ever seen, and it was probably built for necessity of where it is in the city. But you're upstairs, upstairs, step. Here's your seats. Okay, get out of the stairwell. You're in the concourse. Boom, done. I have to admit, I have to assume that takes a lot of stress out of walking the balconies. And because I sat so high, I'm going to be nice about my review. I did not experience the arena like I wanted to. And because I was worried about missing the train, I hauled ass out of there when it was over anyway. And even that was easy. You're down 6-7 flights of stairs. You're at the station. You're done. So yeah, I think I'll have to go back to actually experience a sporting event, but, I feel if you're going to go to MSG if you can, spend the extra money and sit a little lower, because had I known that, I would have spent the money and bought another seat down below on the lower bowl so I could look up at everything. I had no idea that was gonna, most people who don't do a podcast about frickin' arenas don't give a crap. Don't give a crap about, I stopped. That's, I don't have to edit that one. They don't give a crap about a sky bridge blocking the roof because you're not looking at the roof. But there are parts where, I've seen every Phil Collins tour either on tape or in person since he's been doing this. So there's certain parts of the song I'm like, I don't need to see this. Sky bridge. Great. There's a guy sitting there. So I will reserve any final view until I go back for a sporting event. But I will say this. There's not going to be many arenas that's going to beat getting into as I was walking up the stairs to the concourse, I was like, this is freaking great. I love this. This is excellent. Oh, here's my stop. See you later.
I mean, I haven't been to MSG since before the renovation, so I wouldn't even be able to recognize the place, I'm sure. I don't know about you, Mark or Dave.
It's been almost 10 years for me, so that was pre-renovation.
It was the concourse. It's just it felt like another concourse, and I'm trying.
No, you're right.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, you're absolutely right. You get off the train and you go upstairs. There's the arena. I'm trying to think another facility that easy to get in and out of based on mass transit.
DC,
Washington DC. Comes to mind.
It's the same deal. It's just a smaller station because it's not a major hub. Yeah. Penn Station is the hub in New York. Yeah. This is just a metro stop in DC, but you're literally up the stairs, around the corner, front door.
Well, yeah, Boston's like that too. Or you think of Citi Field and Yankee Stadium are like that too. Subway stop is right outside the ballpark.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium.
A little bit
Fenway, or not Fenway. Sorry.
Fenway's a little walk, yeah.
Wrigley, US Cellular are both on the
Yep.
Or sorry, not US Guaranteed Rate Field.
The L.
US Cellular.
Right on the L. Yeah.
Yeah. And also Seattle's right off their mass transportation, which you can take right from the airport and hit both stadiums. All the stadiums in Minneapolis, St. Paul, are right there. Target Field Station is the last stop for the train and the light rail.
And from MSG, we'll go to a little bit of a smaller venue. Actually, no, it's probably a larger venue, but in a smaller place. Mark, you were at Indiana State this week.
Yes, I was at my alma mater checking out some Sycamore football at Memorial Stadium, which back in 1925 was a 16,000, 12,000 seat baseball stadium that got high remarks and high reviews from everyone who attended. Fast forward almost 100 years later, and it's a very generic, basic football field that every time I go back, somebody tells me they're going to renovate it, or they're going to move to campus, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do that. But we are still left with this basic grandstand of a football field. And unless it's homecoming, there's not much going on there. Maybe the beginning of the season when the weather's nice. I would suggest this for the only people who are really digging college football and want to try to get as many venues as they can. Would not suggest this as a place to go out of your way for, even though it's where I spent 4 years of my life. Really would like to see something change there pretty soon. They're renovating the basketball arena, so maybe that's a sign of things to come. After that, we head over to Eastern Illinois to check out O'Brien Field, the home of the Eastern Illinois University Panthers. They produced a couple famous quarterbacks, one being Tony Romo and the other one being Garoppolo from San Francisco.
That's Tony Romo, dude.
Yeah, Tony Romo went to Eastern Illinois. These are things I didn't know, but when you go there, his number's retired. They have this little area where his jerseys are and his accomplishments. It's like, wow, it's pretty cool. Indiana State doesn't have that. I mean, and the team wins. They have like 16 playoff appearances since 1981, a national championship in 78. And it's not a stadium that's any fancier. It's almost a very similar design, but there's more people there. There's a lot more events going on with vendors row outside where you can get barbecue and kettle chips and certain like burgers grilled. It's just a completely different environment. Something I would probably suggest someone to go to if you're into these smaller college football programs. You know, it's a little bit out of the way. It's not as easy to get to as, let's say, Indiana State from where I am. But, two venues that are about an hour away from each other, maybe a little less. And it just tells you how one city can do a great job and the other college can do a lousy job. So did some small town college football this weekend. And I'm going to try to get to these venues before it gets icy cold, because when that happens, I hate being out there at these places with the wind kicking at you.
No, I don't really think when compared to where Dave's probably been, that Indiana State and Eastern Illinois would be considered small town football.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, I just wanted to add because
I thought I had a good segue there.
You did have, how do you like it? How do you like it? You've done it to me 3 shows in a row.
Dave was just sitting there.
No, you've done it to me 3 years in a row, and I just wanted to say 3 years, 3 days, shows, months, years. I've on 2 hours of sleep. Leave me alone. I want to say, as far as reviewing food, unless it's something I really, 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 really ever need, I'm never spending that kind of money on food. Just overall. I didn't even look. I didn't leave my seat. I didn't go to that. There's no way.
No, I rarely eat in arena myself.
Oh,
same reason.
Go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
Toledo. So are we segueing from football to football, or is it just gone now?
You go wherever you want.
All right. Well, for us here, it started the OUA hockey season. So over the 2 weekends, I had 4 Laurier hockey games, and I guess the highlights were I won at Chuck a Puck, and my son kicked my butt at the shootout on the ice. So yeah, the Hawks did nothing; they were terrible. But those were the highlights. Winning at Chuck a Puck is pretty good.
Good prize?
I got to say, I was impressed. No, it was a $25 Freshie gift card, so I literally just gave it to my wife. But, it's all about the glory and winning in front of, 100 people.
That's like when they give away a T-shirt at a game, and I walk in and it's a large or a medium.
Oh,
here you go, Pam.
yeah.
Yeah, even in the shootout, like my son beat me and he won a T-shirt and it was like a medium, and I was like, well, I wasn't going to win it. It was going to do me no good anyway. I could have used it as a backdrop for my Stadium Journey podcasting. But anyway, no, I did catch some football also. Went down to the University of Windsor under the shadows of the Ambassador Bridge to Alumni Field at University of Windsor Stadium. And it's a pretty decent venue. My expectations of OUA venues have sort of changed over time. Once I started going to places that didn't have washroom facilities. And suddenly it was like, oh, okay, you know what? This is a permanent venue. It's got decent seating. It's, they have a spot for concessions. And I guess, Windsor, it only holds about 2,000, and they're a program that's kind of, I would consider them a yo-yo program. They're either way up or they're way down. And currently they're way down. But, they don't draw like a Western would or like a Queens would or something like that. So, 2,000 seats is probably a good spot to be. And, if you're bored of the game, you can watch the traffic coming in from Detroit. It's,
so it's right under the bridge?
It's like literally from my seat, I just look up to the right and I could see the bridge.
Yeah.
If you look across, you see, it's Huron Church Road, which is essentially exiting right off the Ambassador Bridge. So, it's the other thing is it's a fully functional track facility, and those are really spacious, right? Like there's space everywhere. The seats are at least 8 lanes of track away from the field. So you're already, a little bit further away. And there's space for the jumping pits and the pole vault and all that stuff kind of all over. So it did have a very spacious feel to it. And then the other game I went to was, Mark, this one, I'm pretty sure it's going to be my game of the year. It was a Battle of Waterloo, and the good guys came out on top. It was at Warrior Field. A review coming real soon, and Warrior Field took a big bump because they just opened their field house, which provided Warrior Field with washroom facilities, which is a good thing. But yeah, the good guys came out on a 53-50 victory in triple overtime. With like 3 seconds left, Waterloo, it was tied. Waterloo, all they had to do is kick the ball into the end zone. Canadian football, you kick the ball into the end zone, that's a point, right?
Yeah, the Rouge.
So they were going for the field goal. All they had to do was, they didn't even have to hit the field goal. All they had to do was get it into the end zone. Laurier could only do one thing, block it, and they did. And it was amazing. So then we went like 3 overtimes later. And it's that kind of, that shootout overtime where both teams get it 35. And so, yeah, that was super exciting. And, this week coming up, Laurier is win to get in for the playoffs. It's really that simple. So it was another must-win game, and we won. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
Nice. Mark, did you want to jump in about Windsor there for a second?
Yeah, I know when I used to visit my ex-girlfriend in London, Ontario, coming in from Detroit, you pass the stadium, I think, on the left-hand side.
Yeah, if you're coming, coming actually south, funny enough,
coming north.
The bridge is south, going into Windsor is south. It's kind of strange, but
so it does just kind of creep up on that bridge. So I kind of wasn't, when you were talking about Windsor, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that venue. Yeah, it's like one of the first things you see when you cross the border. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great trivia question. You ask somebody, what's the first country you hit if you drive south from Detroit?
Yeah.
The answer is Canada.
That is true. That is true.
So, all right, for myself, the last couple of weekends, I spent 2 weekends ago, spent a lot of time in the great state of Connecticut. So, first up was one of my favorite places to see a football game.
The great state of Connecticut.
Were you liking the air quotes?
Someone's chuckling.
Sorry.
Is Kelly nearby you?
No, that's why I'm laughing. No,
I was expecting to see something get thrown at you.
No, I'm far away.
But yeah, I went to one of my favorite places to see a football game, and that is the Yale Bowl. The cool thing about the Yale Bowl is if you had gone to the Yale Bowl in, say, 1920 or 2020, well, 2020 is next year, but you know what I mean. It looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
I've seen some old pictures of the place, and it's just amazing. It's really a simple facility, but it was groundbreaking at the time. The way they built it is they dug a big hole in the ground, used all the dirt to build up hills around the side berms, and just built the seats right into that berm. Really simple, but if you have ever been to Michigan Stadium or the Rose Bowl, they kind of copied that design. So it's really cool. You can be right outside the Yale Bowl and not know you're right next to a 60,000 seat stadium. Now, that's really kind of the downfall of it is it's a 60,000 seat stadium for a team that attracts, on a good day, 10,000. I mean, back in the day, it was filled, Yale would average close to 60,000, or even, back 40 years ago, they were averaging almost 40,000. Today, they're averaging about, well, it depends if Harvard comes to town or not. They still bang the place out for Harvard. So that's something I've got to do. That's on, my to-do list. Got to catch a Harvard-Yale game.
How many people come out for that?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I went to a Harvard-Fordham game. A Yale-Fordham game. And there was about 8,000 people there. So imagine 8,000 people in a stadium that seats 60,000. You've got some room to spread out. But I still enjoy going to Yale. Really a cool, old, simple place to see a game. The scoreboard doesn't even have a video board. It's just a really old-fashioned, just got the score, the time, the down, and the distance. It's really all it has.
That's what the MLS is going to look like when they move to Soldier Field next year.
Yeah.
Which has been confirmed.
Oh, wow. Are they changing the name of the team?
They haven't said that yet.
Okay. That's another rumor I heard.
But I think it's March 22nd they're going to open. They've already announced that opening day. I think it's against the Revs at Soldier Field.
Wow. Yeah, why not? Have another team.
Have fun parking there.
Way too big.
Yeah.
So, that was the Yale Bowl. Simple. Oh, and the other thing, bring a cushion. The bleachers will kill your rear end. All wooden bleachers all the way around. There's no regular seats in the whole place. All bleachers, which they painted and replaced a lot of wood. But there's still some benches that you don't want to sit in because you'll get a splinter up your rear end. It's for sure. So from New Haven, we drove up to Hartford. Stopped first at City Steam Brewery. Had a couple of naughty nurses. That's their specialty beer, by the way. That's not anything dirty. And then went and saw the season opener for the Hartford Wolfpack.
Bums.
Bums. Yeah. Hartford, the Civic Center, the XL Center, is not one of my favorite places to catch a game. Way too big. Way too old. Way too plain. Mostly way too big.
You do not get to comment on Brass Bonanza. You said, look at that finger. What is going on with that finger, by the way? Anyway, had you ever, well, look at it. Look at that one finger.
I got one that does that.
Well, look at the other. We got arthritis like a sumbitch. Had you have been there, I'm going to rephrase that question. Have you ever been there and I'm going to use air quotes because I know you like the Whalers so much. Heyday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was.
I'm asking for, I'm not picking on you here. I'm asking for a reason. Was it different when the mall was active? Because I think that one of the best ideas I've ever heard is it was Kelly that told me, oh yeah, it was a mall and an arena. I'm like, excuse me, what? I need to live there.
There was a mall there, yeah.
Check out my review on Stadium Journey. Yeah, it was a mall. They had office buildings. They had the arena. They had a convention center all attached, all in this one giant complex.
I grew up in Jersey.
Hotels?
I was a mall rat for like 6 or 7 years, and I'm like, a hockey arena and a mall? I can't handle it.
Well, I was there in 95. I stayed at the hotel next to the arena, and the Florida Panthers stayed. And I got on the elevator with some of the Panther players. Also, Dan Quayle was there. Ralph Nader was there for a convention. So there was just a lot of stuff going on.
Was Dan Quayle there for an English exam or something?
See, funny you bring up the Florida Panthers because they're not that far off that plan, right? Like the big, huge mall, was it Sawgrass Outlet Mall, and is right across the road from where the Panthers play in Sunrise.
This is a whole other. This is a mall. Basically, the arena was inside the mall. Like, this is different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you would walk out of the Gap or Wendy's or whatever store you were in and take 20 steps, and you're in the arena.
That's insane. That's amazing. I want that. Now, I think the mall's closed now, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Just burn it all down. Send them somewhere else.
No,
burn it down.
The issue I have with the XL Center is just that it's too big for the Wolfpack.
Exactly.
Oh, sure. It was built for, what? WHA/NHL.
It was built for the New England Whalers played there, the WHA, and it originally sat about 10,000. Then the roof collapsed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look it up.
78,
a big
79.
snowstorm in 78. Roof collapsed just a couple hours after a UConn basketball game.
Oh.
So a few hours before that, there were about 4,000 or 5,000 people in there.
Wow.
They got out. Roof collapsed overnight. Luckily, nobody was there. Nobody got hurt. The team had to play in Springfield for a year. Springfield, you want a small place.
Yeah.
They rebuilt it, expanded the capacity over the years, and it seats about 15,000, 16,000 now.
Way too big. Even if they do a good attendance for the Wolfpack, you'll never know because there'll be so many damn empty seats, and it's not like there'll be a Calder Cup final there.
I mean, do they still attract concerts and conventions?
Yes, they do.
Nothing else there, yeah.
And I've been there for a sold out. I'm sorry, Dan, I know you're waiting here. I have been there for a sold out concert, and it's. I'll get into that later. Dave, what do you want to say?
A request for our New England type correspondence. I don't know how this is possible, but we do not have a review of UConn basketball at the XL Center on the site. We need that.
We do. I've done Gamble.
Yeah, we got the on campus one, but I mean UConn. It seems they're kind of 50-50, aren't they?
Close.
50. What do you mean?
Do the Celtics still play there?
They play half.
Stopped in the 80s.
UConn plays half of their games on campus and half of them at the kind of like what Villanova does.
Yeah.
Celtics used to play 3 or 4 games at the Civic Center a year. I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine. I've been there for a concert where it sold out, but there's one very small, very narrow concourse where you can have one person walk this way and one person walk this way. That's how wide the concourse is in places. So you can't walk around if there's a big crowd.
Hey, hold on.
It's very narrow. So and that's all they have. So it must have been really tough in the day. But all right, to answer your original question, Dan, I drifted way off, but I'm going to come back now.
It's all right.
They didn't sell out often when the Whalers were there, even when the Whalers were at their peak.
Right.
Like it seated about 15,000, give or take.
Yeah.
Their average attendance was usually about 10 or 11.
I mean, that's
so
still.
You would only get the big crowds when the Rangers or the Bruins were there.
Sure.
Basically.
Yeah, I get you.
So I went to a Bruins game there, and it was a Bruins home game.
I mean, you're still. All kidding aside, I get the rivalry thing, but you're still like Boston is the hub of New England. I mean, to have another team that close. It's different when you have a team in New York and a team in Philadelphia. It's 2 different fan bases, but you're literally, it's like indie wrestling in Jersey. There's like 7 shows running on the same weekend. You're fighting for the same fans. 40 people show up to each and you'll never make any money. I had to throw that out there because I'm bitter too.
Well, that's the problem Hartford had. I think they were in the middle. They're probably equidistant to Boston and to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very close.
But still, you're fighting for.
And Hartford isn't a huge city.
Yeah.
Hartford is like the 10th biggest city in New England. It's not as big as you think. So there wasn't a huge base to draw from. And when half the people root for another team, it's just wasn't a recipe for long-term success.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say the Whalers aren't coming back. It's just not enough money. It's not enough people in that area.
Yeah.
But good things about the XL Center. You're not going to find a more steeply pitched seating bowl. So you're going to have an awesome view of the game. Mm-hmm. For the Wolfpack, they only sell out the lower bowl. You can't sit in the upper bowl.
Still pretty good.
It's a good thing. To get up to the top of the upper bowl in Hartford, you need a mountain goat and a Sherpa. It's a workout to get to the top. Believe me, I have sat in there. And the luxury boxes in Hartford are at the top of the upper deck. So
that's how they used to build them, yeah.
You got this big empty upper deck, and you've got a couple luxury boxes up at the
top. It's like Cincinnati, too.
Yeah.
That's what was baffling me about the MSG was those sky seats. I'm like, why? They're up here.
But Hartford is really an underrated downtown. People hear Hartford, and in the day, I think Hartford was really, really a bad place to be.
Yeah.
But in the vicinity of the XL Center, there are some great restaurants. There's a couple good brew pubs. You got a nice barbecue place. There's things to do downtown. You've got the aquarium.
Used to be a mall there, but you ruined it.
Huh?
There used to be a mall there, but you ruined it, didn't you, Connecticut?
Malls are dying throughout the country, unfortunately.
Not in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, they ain't.
Well, no, New Jersey, they're safe. They're safe in Jersey.
So that was the XL Center. And then on the Saturday, I did a cool thing. I went to the WNBA Finals.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Something's wrong.
Go ahead. I'm not even editing that. That's very funny. I'm leaving that in.
The cool thing was maybe somebody didn't want me to talk about what I did the next day.
Hey, shut up! You can't talk about it!
I went to the WNBA Finals at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Saw Game 3 of Connecticut Sun and the Washington Mystics, where Washington just went crazy from the three-point line, hit 17 three-pointers, won the game in a walk-away. And I had never been to an event there where it was that full. It was 10,000 people at a women's basketball game.
That's awesome.
So don't tell me women's sports doesn't have interest.
They
do well there.
Let me just say, you mentioned the Mystics. Being a Philly guy that moved to the DC metro area, and I'll elaborate later. I don't care about the Philly Nats thing really, but what makes me laugh is, F the Redskins. It's just like Philadelphia, and I love the Eagles, but for years, Philadelphia was Eagles this, Eagles that, Eagles up and down and the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies had brought championships to the city when the football team didn't, but the sports radio and sports media was all about Eagles. DC, it's the same BS. Skins. Not only does your name suck, but you suck, and you've had for years, and all these other teams are winning. I almost, and I'm wearing this shirt, and I'm about to say this, I almost want the Nats to win so the Mystics, the Nats, and the Caps can win a championship. The Skins are just still going, we're the Skins! It would make me laugh so hard. Oh my God.
Well, in the second inning with the Nationals up 7-0 over the Cardinals, they look like they're on their way.
The Nats are going to the series, it looks like.
I mean, who predicted that? I mean, none of us.
The conspiracy.
Well, hey, they could get it. You know what? Washington has been able to do this all without a bullpen. So,
yeah,
if they get into the bullpen, who knows?
Well, that pitching is killing it, especially this series against the Cardinals. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, who cares about
all without
the
Harper?
Cardinals?
Yeah.
Well, Rendon's going to leave after the season, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Like I said, I might elaborate on that later, but it's not going to go it's not going to go in the direction you would think a Philly boy would go.
All right, so I'll wrap up real quick here.
Hurry up, Mark, Paul, whatever your name. Why can't I get your name right? Gee, I'm shutting up now.
You sound like my dad. My dad always got my name wrong when he'd get pissed at me. And the funny thing was, I have the same name he does.
I was going to say, it's the same name. You look the same, too.
So, you know what was cool about going to the WNBA Finals? You had a sellout crowd, very enthusiastic, and you didn't have the jerks who were taking the game way too seriously. That you get like at a football game or something. It was nice, and you could talk to people from Washington, and everybody was friendly, and everybody was into the game. So nice. I'm sorry.
I was just talking over you. I know a guy out here, his name, he goes to all the wrestling shows, but he's the biggest Mystics fan. And to see him, and I mean hardcore Mystics fan, and to watch his reaction while everybody else is talking about Redskins football, it's just, I was loving it. I was like, oh, I'm so happy for that guy. And the team, of course.
Yeah. It was a fun series.
I can't be mad. I have no dog in that race.
There you go.
Horse?
Neither did I really, but it was still fun to be there.
Yeah, so, I bet.
It segues nicely into our topic today, too. But real quick, last weekend, I spent the whole weekend at Warrior Ice Arena for the home opener for the Boston Pride. Tons of fun. So, I mean, I was working, but it was so much fun. And, man, being a PA announcer is a lot harder than you'd think.
Come on, give it to us now. Give us your best goal call with the hardest name.
Yes, dance monkey.
Let's see, I'm lucky. There's not really any hard names on the team this year. But I would really say the most fun one I had to say and the biggest reaction I got was Christina Putinha.
Poutine?
Poutine. Always got to go to Poutine. I'm the fattest one here, and you always got to go to food, Dave.
So, sorry, my daughter's addicted to poutine. So
who isn't?
I'm addicted to cheese. You know what I'm saying?
So
might as well.
The Pride schedule is nuts. We got 6 home games in October, and then 3 the rest of the year. So that's kind of. So that's where I'm going to be all of October. Crowds were really disappointing on Columbus Day weekend or Indigenous Persons weekend, depending on what state you're in. The Sunday game only had about 100 people there, so that was really disappointing. So I'm hoping things pick up. We'll see. So we've talked about where we've been enough. Let's jump into our topic today, which is playoffs. Cue the Jim Mora meme. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
Practice.
So I guess the first question is, have any of us been to one of the big or what's our playoff experience looking like?
No.
So Big Four playoffs?
Well, we can start with the Big Four and go downhill from there.
Still.
Yeah, New Jersey Devils, 1995 Eastern Conference.
He said major sports.
Oh, hockey's not a major sport?
No, the Devils aren't.
Oh, well, yeah, this year they're not.
I'm telling obey the puck, Dan.
You tell him. Yeah, you tell him.
Been tough.
Hey, do you think the Devils are better than the Flyers?
Had a goalie that could stop, a shot. They played the Flyers in the conference finals, and that was a game they lost. I think they had a 3-2-1 lead, and I think Lindros tied it up, and then they won in overtime.
Oh man.
And we were blue. We're like, dang, but they wind up winning the next 2 games, and a few weeks later, the Stanley Cup. So yeah, that was at the old Meadowlands Arena, which was packed. I mean, 19,000 people at that place. So that was a lot of fun. Trying to think anything else playoff games I've been to. Get back to me. Anybody else?
I've got nothing huge.
Pacers, Knicks.
I got bowl games.
Oh no.
Which I don't know. They're postseason.
Yeah.
Not huge. I guess the Citrus Bowl was probably the biggest bowl game that I've been to, and we had a blast at that. I have been to the Grey Cup.
Wow.
Marc,
Grey Cup. Yeah, I've been to 96. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's a championship game.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey, Cal, come here.
As a dog that one. I didn't even enjoy Lenny Kravitz's halftime show. So,
that's a big name performer right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Rider Nation win, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, so that was kind of cool. And it was at Rogers Center. And, they had a full house there that had like 52,000, and still, it's so much of the Grey Cup is the stuff leading up to it. And there's still this legend of Calgary Stampeders fans, bringing a horse into the Royal York Hotel. And if you know anything about Toronto, like the Royal York is the bougie old school hotel in Toronto. So.
Well, staying on the Rogers Center, 2015, I was outside of the facility when the Blue Jays were playing the Texas Rangers. I didn't have a ticket to get in, but I remember the excitement and the fever and the packed crowds and how excited it was to see the Toronto fan base, out in full support. And that was the day my wife told me, just go out and do your thing. I'm staying in the hotel and just chilling. And if I didn't have to go back and have other plans, I would have found a way to get tickets or found a way to get into that stadium because believe you me, it was very infectious, the fever that was going on there. Yeah, Grey Cup 96. I was there in Hamilton. Cold. I was also sick, but I got to watch a championship game played on a snow-covered field with Doug Flutie leading the charge. So I don't think I appreciate it as much as I do now, but that was one heck of a game. And you're right, just a lot of people from all over the country embarking on Hamilton. I think I saw every single team jersey or, a lot of Calgary fans with their flags. Nobody was arguing. It was just a big party in Steeltown.
Yeah. Going back to your baseball experience, Mark, 4 years ago yesterday was the big bat flip.
Oh, man, I still get chills.
What did it do? What did you get?
Huh? Well, it won the
what
series.
Did you get
it won that division.
Oh!
But
I'm just kidding.
See, this is why these Philly guys are all cranky. It's all or nothing.
Yes!
The journey does not matter.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, they won the division series.
You don't get
they
nothing.
lost to Kansas City.
All I have to hear about is Joe Carter the rest of my life. You don't get a bat flip.
That bat flip was quite mighty. Now, of course, there was 3 errors in that inning leading up to the bat flip people forget about. But still, that bat flip, that was probably his last hurrah. Don't you think, with Toronto?
And then he got punched in the face for it.
Getting up after that. That was a good shot,
too. Dude, I was going to say, that's one of the best punches.
The best thing about that punch were his glasses, because they popped off, whoop, straight up in the air.
It is literally one of the best punches I've ever seen a man deliver to another man. It was just straight up, F you. Wow.
So I do have one playoff experience, and it's probably ranks in my top 3, and you might downplay this, but in my top 3 sporting experiences in life is the 2005 Vanier Cup. So it's one thing to go to a championship game, and that's pretty cool, or playoff game. It's a whole different thing to be in the stands when your team is on the field. And, we played, Laurier won that Vanier Cup. We played Saskatchewan. And at no point in time did I think we were going to win that. Like, we were overmatched throughout the whole game and hit a really late field goal. And I still remember just being in total shock. And, at Laurier, one of the traditions is, the athletic programs were really built by 3 guys from West Virginia. One came up and then called his 3 buddies and said, "Hey, come on up here. There's this little school. Let's build it up." And they came up. So there are so many attachments to the John Denver song, Country Roads. And when Laurier won the Vanier Cup at Iverwind Stadium, they didn't play We Are the Champions. They didn't play, Thunderstruck or anything like that. They played Country Roads, Take Me Home. And that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dave, because one of my favorite experiences was in 1999, the ride to the Calder Cup for the Providence Bruins. And, to be there, never mind my own personal slant on it was because, 99 was a rough year. That's when I got divorced and everything. And so being able to latch on to that team and getting to know some of the guys on the team and be kind of, way on the side, but be a little bit of a part of it because we got to celebrate with the team afterwards at Players Corner Pub, which is no longer there. Missed that place. And drink out of the cup that night. It was just such a thing. And even discounting all that, just to be there watching your team win. It's out of this world experience.
Funny enough, just 2 years prior to 05, I have my biggest sporting regret. So in 03, the Rangers made a trip to the Memorial Cup. They ran the table, and at that time, it was the year my daughter was born, and we went to at least one playoff game in every series. And they went to the Memorial Cup, and then, Memorial Cup's a whole week. And on the final game, I could have got tickets, but it was, just one of those things, it's in Quebec City. It's a 12-hour drive. I got to work in the morning. How am I going to do it? 1 year later, I would have done it again.
That's really interesting. We've got kind of a diverse experienced the playoffs. One thing I wanted to talk about real quick was, especially being like a guy who focuses on minor leagues, because, the cost factor is one thing, but the difference in playoffs between the different sports, like minor league hockey, the playoffs really mimic the NHL. 4 rounds, 7-game series. Minor league baseball, it's a complete afterthought. It's like season's done. They just want to get everybody home. Half the time, like in AAA, the guys are up to the majors. So if you make the playoffs, you don't even have the same team playing in the playoffs. It's best of 3. Get it out of here quick. Get it over with. We're done. What do you guys think about something like that?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I've been to some Indianapolis Indian playoff games, and attendance is low. They're offering specials at the concessions. I think when the Indians have home playoff games, they offer the $1 Monday option. When I was back home in New Jersey, I was able to see the Newark Bears and the New Jersey Jackals win championships the same season. And what was funny is that the Jackals were playing a team from Winnipeg who were packing their venue so much that Winnipeg said, hey, let's play all the games here and split the cost, share the cost. And New Jersey's like, no, we'll play in front of like 1,200 fans over in Little Falls, New Jersey. But you're right. It's just you're not promoting playoff games because you don't know, if you're going to make them or not. And I can't, except for that St. Paul Saints game about last month, I've never seen a packed house for a minor league baseball game playoff.
Yeah, neither have I. And the difference is, just like you said, they don't have the advanced workup to attract the groups or the crowds. No matter what kind of specials they do, they'll do like a 10-for-1 special, and it won't matter in the playoffs.
Well, and then sometimes they raise the ticket prices. I know the Indians raise it a couple bucks for playoffs. I'm like, really? Hey, you're begging people to come in here. And it just goes to show you that, most people just want to go see minor league baseball for the promotions, the fireworks, the bobbleheads. They really don't – they care if the team wins, but I would love to see 10,000 people out at an Indians game. And sometimes it's played during the week, like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So,
Yeah, I don't get minor league baseball playoffs at all. And then in some leagues, in some of the lower leagues, you got like the half season winner.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't really get how that fits in. But funny enough, I would say you got kind of two opposites with minor league baseball. It's like, is it done yet? Let's do 2 series and best of none and let's go home.
Let's play rock, paper, scissors and get it done.
if you're think about this. You're going to the playoffs and it's like a demotion, right? As a player, like if you're going to the playoffs, you're not getting a September call up. It's like you're being punished. But then on the other side, like minor league hockey, to just essentially mimic.
And the juniors are the same way, yeah.
Well, juniors. I don't know. I think juniors is a little bit different because the Memorial Cup is so different and so kind of iconic. But minor league hockey to me is way too long. I think most people would say that the hockey playoffs and the basketball playoffs are too long. At the major level. In minor league, it's like, oh my gosh, way too long.
The last couple seasons, the AHL has actually ended after the NHL.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like at least
right
in junior, like the Memorial Cup is done in May, and it's a specific tournament date, and it's they have to promote it well before who's in it. Other than the host team, of course. And most of the time it's all sold out before the teams are figured out. So, like it's not like you're in bikini weather, when it's hockey season still.
It's always bikini weather for me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not going to Philly anytime soon.
But there is one hockey league that has, bar none, the best playoff setup of any of them. And I'm talking about the Southern Pro Hockey League.
Oh, God.
Because
I think they got rid of that.
First round, they don't do your traditional 8 teams make the playoffs, but they don't do 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc. If you're the top seed, you get to pick who you play. So if you don't like the 8th seed, or if it's too long to travel, or if that's a team that's giving you a hard time all year, you could take any other team you want, and then the 2nd seed gets the next pick, and so on. And I think that should be a thing in all the leagues.
And how'd that work for Peoria?
Yeah, sometimes it backfires on you.
I heard they got rid of that this year, but I'm not sure.
I hope not, because I love it. And Dan, I know we've talked about it.
And then getting back with attendance, Peoria, when they finished number 1 last year and was able to pick their opponent, they were not able to play in their home arena. They had to play at another facility because that was booked for either Bradley basketball or some other kind of event. So, that doesn't happen in minor league baseball, but I don't know how common that is in hockey where, okay, we made the playoffs, we're a top seed, we're advancing. Oh, you can't play in the arena. Why?
Oh, you kidding? The AHL had that problem for years. The circus would screw everybody.
Ice Follies, Disney on Ice. It
was always the circus. With Barnum and Bailey Circus would always be running the Northeast in the springtime. And every year it would be like Russian roulette as to what your playoff, especially in the early rounds, what it would look like. I mean, I saw a series where it was best out of 7 and you'd be doing like a 1-3-2-1, or I even saw we had one against Worcester, I think one year it was 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 because of building availability.
I think I feel that there was an arena bowl that was not played where it should have been because of the circus or something like that.
I know San Jose, I think, had to play in Stockton.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that was it. That was like their last game. That was the last game they played.
That was, I think. Yeah. They won and they done.
Yeah, and I think the owner was like, "Screw this league, I'm out of here."
So, are there any leagues that we feel should do things a little differently? Dave, you already said that you think basketball and hockey go on for too long.
Yeah, it's too long.
Get out. Get out right now.
Well, nobody wants to see Dan go into the game in his bikini, so.
I don't know. I kind of would like to see that.
Family show. Come on.
You know what I would like to see in the NBA? Like maybe a shortened season and a shortened playoff, but in the middle, you take all the teams, you put them in like an NCAA knockout style round. You take their highest ranked team, you have them play the lowest rank. And, you call that some kind of championship and you can hang a banner.
Oh, like what do they do in soccer? What's that called? The U.S. Open Cup or something like that?
You got the U.S. Open Cup where you play, all the amateurs play the 3rd division, the 4th division, and it's mostly MLS teams in the final.
Didn't somebody work all the way up to the finals in that last year or the year before? Some low-level team they had a good run. I don't know if they made the finals.
Wasn't it the Fire?
Well, no, it was like a USL team.
Yeah, it was a lower level team.
I know the Rochester Rhinos since the MLS began, are the only non-MLS team to win it in the last 25 years.
And then isn't that how the CONCACAF representatives are picked from that tournament? That go play get killed by the Mexican teams and.
I don't know. I've exhausted all my soccer knowledge with that one fact. So.
I'll look that up.
Hey, how about we're talking about the postseason? In Europe, they don't even do a postseason.
No.
You win the regular season, you're the champion.
And that's something that I find interesting about the playoffs and the people that complain about how playoffs work.
Promotion relegation is what the key is.
It seems that the media types want the quote unquote best team to win always, right? Which would be whatever team is the best in the regular season. But they're going to, that's not the way playoffs work, right? And that's not what makes playoffs interesting. How many years has the winner of the President's Trophy actually won the Stanley Cup? It's not too many. And that's what makes hockey playoffs interesting, is you never really know. To me, the NBA should wipe out the first round altogether. It's the biggest waste of time going, Either that or they should go play it in China or something.
Oh, hey, you said nobody could talk about China today, Dave. Put them on mute. What's that?
Throwing them a bone.
No,
sorry, my bad. They should go play it in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. No,
go ahead, Mark.
Well, I know in England, I think in League One or League Two or both, they'll take the top 2 teams, and then they'll take the 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll play in. They'll have like a small bracket. Whoever wins that gets promoted. The third place team. So there is that in the lower divisions. But like when Manchester City won the championship, they won it because they had the best record in the league, not because they won a playoff series.
And I just thought of something. The Premier Lacrosse League this year, not only did they have a playoff bracket for the championship, they had a bracket for the first round pick.
Oh.
So they started with 4 teams in the championship bracket. The lower 2 teams were in the first pick bracket. So once you lost in the top bracket, they went to the first pick bracket. It was kind of convoluted, but it was actually pretty cool once you could understand how the seeding worked. So it ended up, I think, like the 4th place team ended up winning the top pick in the draft, and the 2nd place team ended up winning the championship. So it was something different, and it was pretty cool, I thought.
My favorite playoff situation is the simplest. It's the NCAA basketball tournament. Single elimination, anything can happen, and for those who are a little freaky about, quote, the best team has to win all the time. How many times has it been? It's always that small chunk of teams. This year seemed like a little bit of an outlier with Virginia winning, but Kentucky's always in the mix, and Duke is always in the mix, and North Carolina's always in the mix, and Kansas is always in the mix. But, you do have those great upsets that just make it so exciting. And there is not a better situation for gambling in the NCAA tournament. It is so simple. It's pick the winner. This team beats this team, and then this team beats this team, and then they play off, and then reseeding is fine, but it loses its luster. It makes it too complicated to try and figure out at the beginning of the playoffs who you think's going to be there at the end. So I prefer like that straight bracket where, so what? So the 8th team beats the first team. Who cares? It shouldn't reseed because that monkeyed up everything.
Yeah.
It should just, this is the tournament, go.
Yeah. Something to be said for that for sure. All right. So given all this, who's got the best playoffs, guys? What sport is the best playoffs?
Hockey, you'll see some shocking upsets from time to time, more than what you'll see in the National Basketball Association. I mean, how many 8 seeds have beat a 1 seed in the NBA in recent memory? It doesn't happen too often.
I think it's one.
Was it
happened
Seattle?
Once, I think.
Denver, Seattle? And that was eons ago.
I've got to go with Dan. I mean, and hockey playoffs are a death match. It's a death march, whatever you want to call it. It's total attrition. Those guys are so beat up. I mean, every year we talk about, all right, how many guys on this team needed surgery? I mean, you look at the Blues and the Bruins last year. Right after that series ended, everybody went to the hospital. it was like Rocky 1 or Rocky 2.
Rocky 2, yeah.
Went to the hospital after the games.
One thing about the NHL playoffs, and this isn't like a format piece, is to me it's so different than the game that's played during the season, right? And it's been like that forever now. Back in the drop the gloves punch 'em era, suddenly there were no fights in the playoffs.
Right.
But the struggle I have with the hockey playoffs is, like, the mentality just changes and you get that Don Cherry sort of, well, just let the boys play. It's the playoffs. You can't call that holding in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. Well, wait a second. It's holding, isn't it? You call the holding. So it's not a format piece, but that part I struggle with the hockey playoffs. And they're long.
And I think everything I just said about hockey, flip it, and that's what makes the football playoffs so awesome, is it's that one and done, that do or die. Like, I mean, in hockey, you were never going to get what happened in 2007. The Patriots would not have lost a 7-game series to the Giants. They would have lost that one game because of the helmet catch, and then wiped them out the other 4. So the suspense of that one and done is awesome too. So, but I don't know.
Man, if we did series in football, holy, we'd still be playing the 2010 Super Bowl right now.
Exactly. So Dave, Mark, what's your votes for best playoffs out of them all?
I'm going with the NCAA basketball tournament. I do like the junior hockey Memorial Cup and how it's a round robin tournament, and both of them are unique. I mean, I wouldn't want all the playoffs to be the same in anything. I like that they're different.
Yeah, I mean, in hockey, I think sometimes there's too many teams, and basketball, you got some terrible 500 teams making it. But hockey, it's a different season. You don't know what's going to happen. Back when the Devils were one of the elite teams, they would get upset by Ottawa or Pittsburgh. And you're like, how the heck did that happen? Like Leafs make the second or conference round. But, yeah, hockey is it's a whole new ball game. Anything changes. Baseball, with the wild card right now, especially with Washington, that's kind of unpredictable, but it's a little bit more in hockey. So, but
you guys like that wild card game in baseball?
Yes,
I love it.
No, I love it. I love it.
We're anonymous there.
When your team wins, but yeah, the Final Four though is still you like when the small school wins and makes a charge towards the Final Four. That's always exciting. All of a sudden,
any bucket list items, playoff bucket list for any of you guys? For me, all of them. I haven't been to any of them. Super Bowl, World Series, Stanley Cup Finals, Final Four. I'll take any of them. Yes.
At this point, with the way the Flyers are going, I just want to get to a first round playoff game. Just see that.
Back in '96, I had a chance to go to the World Series, Game 6, which my friends waited in line, not knowing that Game 6 was going to be the final game where the Yankees won. They waited in a line at Yankee Stadium overnight to get tickets, $40 a piece. And my attitude back then was like, I don't want to see the Yankees. But if I had gave them the $40 to get me the ticket, I could be here saying that I've been to a World Championship. Yeah. I mean, a World Series clinching game. I'll be at the Yankees, but I can have that on my pedigree. So,
there are a couple actually. Thinking about it now, I mean, I have done some NCAA basketball tournament, not the finals, and those were pretty neat. And I have done the Frozen Four twice, which was a little disappointing. I think
that's because you went in Buffalo. That doesn't count.
Yeah, in Buffalo, the promoters did a really poor job, and they priced themselves out of the market, and it showed. It would have probably been better if they would have had maybe more central New York, team. If one of those small schools could have made a miracle run like a St. Lawrence or a Clarkson or whatever. Minnesota Duluth is not a huge draw, I would assume. But I mean, my bucket list. I mean, sure, like Paul, I'd love to go to all of them, but like the reality of that is, what's less than slim? That's where I am, right? Like I'd have to have a gold-plated bucket to do those on my bucket list.
Yeah, but do I want to have a house or do I want to go to a Super Bowl game?
Yeah. But my reality bucket list is the Memorial Cup, is the whole thing. I have done the finals, when Windsor won at home. But yeah, and I've said it before, it's my retirement gift to myself. Wherever it is, I'm going to go for the week, do the whole tournament, and it'll probably be in Guelph. So I won't have to go anywhere and it won't be that exciting. But, yeah, that's probably the top of my playoff bucket list is the Memorial Cup.
All right. And with that, I think it's time to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for listening. So, Dan, where can our listeners follow you online?
I never elaborated on Washington Phillies.
We don't have another hour, though.
Wouldn't take an hour.
Okay, go for it.
I just want to say, I'm doing it. I'm damn doing it.
Do it.
I'm goddamn doing it.
Well, we tried to get it in an hour.
Trust me, if Mark doesn't interrupt, it'll be 5 minutes. No, so I want the Nationals fans to listen to me. You're no better than Phillies fans. For years, I heard how terrible we are because we gave Jason Worth crap. I say we. I never booed the guy because I like Jason Worth. And then you had the opportunity to be better, and you're crappier. You wished autism against Bryce Harper's kid because you didn't like him. And as you advanced and keep advancing into the series, you keep talking about Bryce Harper. He doesn't care. He's been playing Fortnite and spending time with his family. He doesn't care about you. But I do want to say this. It's fun. I stick by every word I said about the Washington, D.C. thing. I hope the Nats do win so the Redskins and Dan Snyder, that piece of crap, scumbag human being, looks even worse because it would make me laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And also, I don't want to see another Yankees World Series. You mentioned the Yankees 96.
No.
Oh, Yankees, another. Oh, I feel so bad that Yankees have not won a World Series in whatever many years.
10 years.
Minutes.
Oh, what a shame. Yeah, 20 minutes.
It's longer than the Red Sox have gone. So.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but the Red Sox went, 4,000 years without a World Series?
Almost.
But to stick on point here, coming from all kidding aside, as a Phillies fan, I can't even be mad. I don't care about the Nats in that way. The Phillies front office, the people, I want to say this because I got into an argument with a Philly friend I consider a really good friend about how I just hate the Nats. Well, the Nats didn't do anything to you. Your front office did. You guys saw that you saw the scores. You guys saw me tweeting about it. You should be mad at your team and your front office and your staff letting go. And here's Bryce Harper. What about pitching? Nah, it's fine. We're good. And then we see how that went. Whether McCutchen was getting injured or not, which that's when all the heart left that team. When McCutchen went down, it was over. You did nothing. Middleton, Clantac, you did nothing to help that team. You got, what was his name from the Mets? I don't even know anymore. Alonso?
Tom Seaver.
No, that would have helped.
Well, there's a lot of guys from the Mets.
No,
well, they did have a better record than the Phillies.
One guy. We got one guy in the trades, and I forgot who I don't even care anymore because we got one guy.
Gary Carter.
Mute him.
Jay Bruce.
No. All right, two guys. Pitching.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Right, exactly. You don't remember either. Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Actually was pitching pretty well before he left the Mets.
Yeah, then he went to Philly.
Oh, God.
I know who you're talking about.
No, Jay Bruce was great when he wasn't injured. Jay Bruce was fantastic. My point is
his name?
Vargas,
Jason Vargas.
Vargas, thank you. The only people you should be mad at is the people running the Philly. Who cares? The Nats have never won a World Series. The Expos have never won the World Series. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. It's the same franchise. They have never won a championship. Calm the hell down. The Nats winning the World Series has no effect on a Phillies fan. I'm still wearing my Phillies shirt. I don't care. However, you need to focus on your front office and accepting. We could argue all day about Gabe Kapler. I'm under 5 minutes, Paul, so that's fine. We could argue about Gabe Kapler. He was the scapegoat. Then they're going to get away with another, so off season and sitting there staring at paper and doing nothing because they had their scapegoat was Gabe Kapler. It's all his fault. 50-50. He worked with what he had and it wasn't very much, barring the fact that I don't think he's a very good coach and he has very little experience. Now on to the other side. Well, I wish them luck, and I mean that sincerely. If you think I care that you waited 15 whole years to have success and you think that's a long time, I don't care. Good luck, but yeah, I don't care. Other than that, I just wanted to put on record that any Phillies fans mad at Nationals as a team or any of their fans, calm down. It's not their fault. Let them enjoy it. I didn't expect this run. It's fun to watch them pound the crap out of people who are like, it's the national. Oh, oops. And, yeah, that's it. I just wanted that on record. Also, Bryce Harper doesn't care about you. Leave my boyfriend alone.
I gotta say, I'm enjoying watching them just pound the tar out of the Cardinals.
Oh my God.
Okay with me.
I hate the Cardinals. Why are we mad that they're beating the Cardinals?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, can I make a comment on the whole Bryce Harper thing?
No, maybe.
Okay. I kind of get it. Now, I don't know what you were talking about, wishing autism on someone's kid.
I was being sarcastic because a few fans heckled Bryce the last DC Philly series, and they said, "We hope your kid gets autism." His newborn kid. And hold on,
weak.
Let me just add that goes to one of the things this good friend said was National fans, they all suck, and my reply to him was, "Oh, so not the whole fan base only applies to Philadelphia?" Come on.
So this is how I look at this. There was this rash of jersey burning and, people being, really upset when whoever.
I'm going to show that team. I'm going to burn this jersey I paid $100 and something bucks for.
Yeah.
And I'll show them.
Yeah. And then it kind of went the other way where, we were all just supposed to be, well, it's their right to leave. It's their right. You're right. It is their right. And that's fine. But I think that is really not looking at what the relationship between a fan and a player is, a star player on a team. It's like a marriage, or it's like, being with a girlfriend or something. And, if you're like, let's use the Cavs as an example, right? LeBron James is there. He left and he came back and he left again. Now,
wouldn't you leave Cleveland too, though?
No, I love Cleveland.
Oh,
yeah.
I like Cleveland better than Los Angeles.
Oh,
but that
LA's overrated. Nice weather, but
aside,
overrated.
Great, I'm going to LA in a couple months.
LA is definitely overrated. Go ahead.
Just go to Cleveland instead.
I've been to Cleveland. I want to go to LA.
But
Well,
if your girl leaves you for like some hunky, beautiful actor guy who's way richer than you are you happy for her, or are you still mad at her? I think you're still mad at her regardless of
No. You must have understood what I was saying. I did not mean that they weren't allowed to be angry. I'm saying that all those years that Philly gave Jason Worth crap, and people are like, yeah, well, he won a World Series for you. It's still the same relationship you're talking about, Dave, right?
Yeah.
Your lover left. All those years I heard about how crappy we were and how your whole city sucks because a couple people booed Jason Worth. And I know I've been to those games where I told some of those drunk Eagles fans, not Phillies fans, to shut up. Nats Park, be quiet. You're an idiot and you're drunk. Go sit down. They earned that. But my point is you told me for years how bad we were, and you did the same thing because that's the reaction. That's how you're supposed to react. Your dude left. Of course you're going to react that way. But what I'm saying is you're now on the eve of the World Series. You've made it without your guy. You need to stop talking about him. I mean, you don't need to. Who cares what I'm talking about? Nobody cares what I am. But what I'm saying is you have a team that's kicking ass right now, and you need to focus on them and not, I'm going to be talking about Bryce Harper. That man stopped caring a long time ago. But no, I'm talking, as far as absolutely earned it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I'm just saying all that talk about how much, better DC was, you reacted the same way, like humans. That was all. I just wanted to say that Philly fans in general should not be mad at the Nationals. They should be marching up to the gates of Citizens Bank Park and go, we want better. And I'm deadly serious about how I'm acting right now. We need better. You did a job on the off season last year, and you did a job this entire season doing nothing for the pitching, and you made us all look stupid. And you look stupid at that last press conference when you were like, it's Gabe Kapler's fault. Y'all should be ashamed. You should all be fired. And I'm trying not to curse so much again. I just need to get that off my chest. The Phillies front office is a joke. And until they're held to task for being a joke, it's going to be a joke. And if you want the mid 80s to early 90s again, just keep going. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Anyway.
Tell us how you really feel.
You.
You can get all this and more at DanLaw83.
That was my sign off. Yeah, DanLaw83. Thanks, Paul.
And to all you idiots out there wishing autism on Bryce Harper's son, you cannot catch autism. You cannot get autism.
Yeah, that was the other thing. That's not how that works.
Something you're born with or you're not.
I hope he gets autism. Wait, what?
All right. Mark, how about you? Any stadium journeys planned for the upcoming 2 weeks? And where can our listeners follow you online?
Well, I just found out that the Indy 11 are going to be playing back at IUPUI, which is a much better venue for soccer than Lucas Oil because you get much better atmosphere. So they're going to be hosting a playoff game in a couple weeks. So I'll be definitely at that game. Other than that, I'll just see where the schedule lands. Fort Wayne Comets are back in session, and I wouldn't mind getting up there to see a game. Find out what I wind up doing at Ballpark Hunter at Twitter or Instagram.
And Dave, same questions for you. Stadium journeys planned. Where can we follow you?
On Friday, I am heading to Toronto to York University because we do not have a review of the York Lions hockey team. So I'll be hitting that up. And the OUA basketball season tips off. So it'll be at the athletic complex for Laurier for that. Crossing my fingers that the Golden Hawks can make some football playoff action happen. And I usually take my daughter and my son each on a road trip for Christmas. But my daughter is working now and she's a teenager and like her schedule is goofy. So we figured we would do something that cost about we would cost about the same as a road trip. We are going to her very first Toronto Maple Leafs game. So